When fifth graders are multiplying fractions by a whole number, I want them to think of repeated addition. It's a really easy starting point for them. So when they see something like 6 times 1/3, they can think that this is 1/3 added 6 times. So we could do the repeated addition for it. We can set it up here. And this is just a really good basic building block off of third and fourth grade fractions. So we have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Since we're all having common denominators, we can simply add up the numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get 6/3. And so the answer here is 6/3. Or we could say 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 is 1 whole. And then these thirds here, 1/3 plus 1/3 is another 1 whole. And we get the answer of 2. So 6 times 1/3 is 6/3, or 2. It's all the same thing. Another problem here, so going 3/4 times 5, and notice how I just flipped the order, whole number fraction here, fraction whole number here. Again, think repeated addition, just a good basic starting block for them. And they can do 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4. And since we all have the common denominator of fourths, add up the numerators. 3 plus 3 is 6, 9, 12, 15. And we get 15/4. That's a perfectly acceptable answer. This fraction does not need to be turned into a mixed number for a correct answer, but we can. And that would be 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 3/4. So you got 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole, 3 and 3/4. So that's also an acceptable answer. 3 and 3/4. Now they might be getting problems set up like this, where it's 1/3 of 6, and getting them to think, okay, 1/3 of 6, they could think of it like this: 6 broken. So here's 6. This rectangle represents 6. I'm going to break it into 3 pieces, or thirds. And then the question becomes, well, what is this piece here? If this is 1/3, and this is 1/3, and this is 1/3, what is that piece right there? Well, 1/3 of 6, or 6 divided into 3 pieces, each piece then would be 2. 2, 2, 2. So 1/3 of 6 is 2. Let me just let me go back to the beginning really quick and point that out. Right here. 6 times 1/3 is 2. Another way of writing that is 1/3 times 6, which would be 2, or 1/3 of 6. And that's making that connection between the multiplication sign and the word of. Different ways of solving it, but I just like to point out that connection for you at home watching this video. Looking at these problems, so I'll just really quick saying 6 times 1/3, we talked about using repeated addition. 6 times 1/3 could also be solved like this. 6 times 1/3, and this is when we get more of an algorithm, a little quicker way. 6 as a fraction is 6 whole, so 6 over 1 whole. And now we're actually getting into fraction times a fraction here. When we do fraction times a fraction, we can multiply straight across. We're going to get 6/3. So you put your whole number over 1, multiply straight across, multiply your numerators. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. So there's your 6 and your 3. You get 6/3. 6/3 is the same thing as 3/3 plus 3/3. So you get 1 whole plus 1 whole equals 2. So 6 times 1/3 is 2. And the other problem we did was 3/4 times 5. So 3/4 times 5. Alright, we can turn that 5 into a fraction. 5 whole, 5 over 1. You get 15/4. So there's a little quicker way. Multiply straight across. the numerator and the denominator. And you get 15/4 or 3 3/4, which is the same thing. These are equivalent.